They told you God was watching. Every move, every thought, every mistake, seen, judged, recorded. You were raised to believe that somewhere, far above you, sits a supreme being keeping score. That he listens when you pray, turns away when you sin, and smiles only when you behave exactly as instructed. From the beginning, fear was stitched into your faith. Fear of doing wrong, fear of thinking wrong, fear of being wrong. And so you obeyed, not because you understood, not because it brought you closer to something divine, but because you were afraid of what would happen if you didn't. You were told this fear was holy, that guilt meant you were on the right path, that silence meant God was testing you, that suffering was part of his plan. But what if it was all a lie? What if God was never up there, never outside of you, never a distant presence hovering over your life like a cosmic security camera? What if the true tragedy isn't that you've been judged, but that you've spent your entire life feeling separated from what you've always been a part of? Baruch Spinoza, centuries ago, said something that got him exiled, rejected, and branded a heretic by the religious institutions of his time. He said that God wasn't some supernatural entity sitting on a throne. He said that God wasn't watching from afar. He said that God is the universe. God is nature. God is existence itself. And if that's true, then God is not a being. God is being. Not a watcher, not a judge, not a parent, but the force that is all things, including you. So let me ask you, what happens when you stop trying to impress a God above and start recognizing the God within? The idea might sound radical, even offensive, but that's only because you've been conditioned to think of yourself as less worthy, less divine, less connected. They told you to bow down, to beg for forgiveness, to fear your own instincts, your own questions, your own thoughts. But what if those very questions were the voice of God moving through you? What if curiosity, wonder, awe, defiance weren't signs of rebellion, but signs that something ancient and infinite is alive inside you? And maybe the greatest sin isn't disobedience, but denying that truth. You were never meant to live small. You were never meant to carry shame like a shadow. You were never meant to fear the source of your own existence. Because God was never watching you. God was living through you. And all this time, while you waited for a sign from the heavens, it was your own heartbeat that was whispering the truth. If God is not above, if God is not separate, then what does that make you? This is where most people flinch. Because the moment you stop seeing God as a distant ruler, you're forced to confront something far more uncomfortable. The possibility that you are not being led, but that you are the path itself. Spinoza dismantled the illusion of separation. He said that everything, every tree, every drop of water, every thought in your mind is part of one infinite, unified substance. You are not in the universe. You are the universe, expressed, localized, temporarily aware of itself. And if that's true, then your suffering isn't a punishment. It's a misunderstanding. You suffer not because life is cruel, but because you were taught to look at yourself through the wrong lens. You were taught to believe you were a mistake trying to earn forgiveness, that you were a lost soul needing to be saved, that your desires, your doubts, your pain were all proof of your spiritual failure. But Spinoza would tell you this: you are not broken, you are not cursed, you are not outside of anything holy. You are a necessary expression of existence itself. And the moment you see yourself as less than that is the moment you begin to suffer. Think about how many hours, how many years you've spent apologizing for your existence, for feeling too much, for asking too many questions, for not fitting into the mold that was handed to you. And ask yourself, who benefits from that? Who gains when you're silent? Who profits when you're obedient? Who wins when you're afraid of your own nature? Because fear is control. And what Spinoza's philosophy threatens most is that control. If God is not an external lawgiver, If God is the very fabric of reality, then no one has the right to claim they speak on his behalf. No one can claim to be closer to him than you. No one can sell you salvation. You don't need to climb toward heaven. You need to descend into truth, into the silence behind your noise, into the awareness beneath your identity, into the raw, unfiltered reality of this moment, exactly as it is. Because that, according to Spinoza, is God. Not something mythical, not something emotional, but the totality of what is, including you, especially you, and maybe, just maybe, that's why they needed you to believe in a God outside of you. Because the moment you realize that you are divine, not metaphorically, but fundamentally, you stop begging, you stop conforming, you stop obeying, and you begin to see clearly the chains aren't real, the distance isn't real. The fear was never yours, it was given to you. But now you can give it back, because the divine doesn't live in temples made by hands. It lives in the space between your thoughts, in the stillness of your breath, in the awareness that hears these words and feels the weight of them. So again, ask yourself, what if the reason you felt so lost all your life is because you were taught to search in the wrong direction? Let's go deeper. If everything is part of one infinite substance, as Spinoza claimed, then your mind is not separate from your body. Your soul is not separate from nature, and the sacred is not separate from the ordinary. There is no duality, no split between the divine and the human, no invisible wall separating spirit from matter. What we call God is not above life, it is life, all of it, not in pieces, not selectively, but entirely, which means the wind is divine, your heartbeat is divine, your pain is divine, your doubt, your confusion, your silence, all of it, part of the whole. You've been taught to divide everything. This is holy, that is sinful, this is spiritual, that is secular, this is divine, that is human. But division is an illusion, a convenience, a lie made to keep you small. Spinoza's God doesn't reward or punish, because there's no need. There's no outside observer judging the inside of your soul. There is only the whole, expressing itself through every atom, every breath, every thought. So why do you still feel guilt? Why do you still feel shame? Why does a voice still whisper, you are not enough? Because religion, as it's been packaged, depends on it. Because entire systems were built on the idea that you are flawed, and someone else has the cure. But what if nothing about you is wrong? What if your grief, your anger, your contradictions are all valid parts of a larger, divine system unfolding exactly as it must? Not randomly, not chaotically, but according to a deeper, eternal logic that transcends your understanding. You weren't given emotions as a test. You were given them as tools to explore, to feel, to live. And yet, most of your life has been spent apologizing for them. But how do you apologize to God for being what God made you to be? You don't. You remember. You return. You let go of the illusion that you were ever separate. Spinoza believed that true peace comes not from asking for forgiveness, but from understanding the truth. That once you stop believing in a split between you and God, between body and soul, between thought and nature, you begin to dissolve the fear that's been running your life. And in that space, something strange happens. You stop fighting reality. You stop resisting what is. You stop searching for meaning out there and begin to feel it here in your hands, in your breath, in this moment, because meaning is not something you find. It's something you realize was always present once you remove the filters. Spinoza's God is not emotional, not personal in the way religions often portray. But that doesn't mean this God is cold. It means this God is constant, unchanging, always present, always expressing, even when you cry, even when you fall, even when you scream into the void asking if anyone's listening. Someone is. Not a figure in the sky, but the stillness beneath the chaos, the silence inside your storm. So maybe it's time to stop asking for signs and start seeing everything as one. Because in a universe where nothing is separate, there are no signs, there is only life, and life is enough. So now the question becomes, if God is not watching you, but living through you, what does that demand of you? Because once you accept that you are not a mistake, once you let go of the idea that you're being judged from above, you can't live the same way. You can't hide behind fear. You can't blame fate. You can't wait for permission to be whole. Responsibility comes with realization. Because if God is the totality of existence, and you are part of that, then how you live matters. Not in the way religion says it does, but in a deeper, more personal way. It matters because every moment of awareness expands the universe's understanding of itself. You are not an observer of the divine. You are its instrument, its vessel, the lens through which life experiences itself. So what are you doing with that gift? Are you numbing it? Are you drowning it in distraction? Are you wasting it on opinions that were handed to you by people who never knew who they were? Spinoza didn't believe in free will as you were taught it. He believed everything happens according to necessity. Everything follows the unbreakable chain of cause and effect. But he also believed in freedom, a different kind of freedom. Not the ability to do anything, but the ability to understand why you do anything, to see clearly the forces that move you, to live not as a puppet, but as a participant. That's what he called freedom, clarity. Because when you understand yourself, you stop reacting blindly. You stop being tossed around by emotions you don't understand. You stop being a slave to your past, your impulses, your conditioning. And that's where the real transformation begins. You become grounded, not in belief, but in being. You stop seeking salvation and start living in alignment. Not because someone told you to, not because you're afraid of eternal punishment, but because you've seen the truth, and truth, once seen, cannot be unseen. So, how do you begin? You start by paying attention, by noticing what you resist, by observing the patterns that pull you, by watching your thoughts without attaching to them, by asking not, what should I do, but what is real. This is not the path of comfort. It's not the path of popularity, but it is the path of liberation. Because once you begin to understand your nature, you begin to live in harmony with reality, not in conflict with it. And when that happens, the anxiety begins to dissolve. The guilt loses its grip. The desperate chase for validation begins to fade, because you no longer need to prove your worth to something above you. You realize your worth is the divine, made manifest. You are not a sinner clawing toward heaven. You are a spark of the infinite, unfolding exactly as you must. So no, God is not watching you. He is breathing through your lungs, thinking through your mind, loving through your presence. And if that's true, then every moment is sacred. Every word is a prayer. Every action is an expression of something eternal. Not because it's written in a book, but because it's written in you. So here you are, not a soul in exile, not a sinner under surveillance, not a puppet controlled by invisible hands, but something else entirely. You are life aware of itself. You are the universe, momentarily conscious. You are the divine, not as myth, but as reality. And yet, the world still tells you to forget that. It tells you to shrink, to obey, to apologize for being. Everywhere you look, systems are built to convince you that your power lies elsewhere, in doctrines, in hierarchies, in rituals, in someone else's hands. But Spinoza tore that illusion apart. He dared to say, there is no outside. There is no other place. There is only this reality, this moment, this breath. And if God is real, then he is not hiding behind clouds or scriptures. He is here, now, in you. The same force that causes the stars to burn, the tides to rise, the trees to grow is the same force that lets you think, feel, wonder. How can something so vast be so intimate? That is the paradox. That is the mystery. That is the truth hidden in plain sight. They told you to search upward, to look outward, to beg for answers from beyond. But the quiet voice, the one that whispered through your loneliness, that stirred beneath your deepest questions, it was never separate. It was the divine in disguise, wearing your voice, speaking your doubt, living your life. So maybe the real awakening isn't found in revelation, but in remembrance. Remembering that you were never lost, that you were never alone, that you were never less, only disconnected, only misled, only waiting for permission to realize what's always been true. So now I ask you, not as a stranger speaking from a screen, but as one flicker of consciousness to another, what if you stopped asking for signs and started living as one? What if your existence is the message? What if every breath you take is a sacred act? Not because a book said so, not because a preacher declared it, but because the divine lives through you, moves as you, is you, not metaphorically, not symbolically, but literally. This isn't about belief anymore. This is about waking up. And once you do, you won't need to convince anyone of anything. You won't need to argue or convert or defend, because truth doesn't scream. It simply is, and it waits patiently in the silence for you to remember it. So I'll leave you with one final question. If you were never being watched, only being lived through, what would you do differently?